My name is Vane, and welcome back to Shady Hollows. And today we are going to break down one of the most horrible types of horrors known to man, which would be known as the horrors in plain sight. In the desert outside of Truth and Consequences, New Mexico, there was a man who didn't hunt in the shadows. He built a room, a trailer, soundproofed, mirrored, equipped with restraints, surgical tools, whips, chains, and a gynecological exam chair bolted to the floor. He called it his Toybox, and before his victims ever saw it, they heard his voice, a pre-recorded tape, explaining exactly what was about to happen to them. This is the story of David Parker Ray, the man known as the Toybox Killer. David Parker Ray was born in 1939. By the time he was in his 50s, he was living in a small New Mexico town known as Elephant Butte, near Truth or Consequences. To neighbors, he wasn't invisible. He worked as a park ranger for the New Mexico State Park System. He had a daughter, he had many girlfriends, he wasn't a drifter, and he was not isolated. He was embedded in the community, but privately, Ray had developed violent sexual fantasies for decades. According to later testimony, he had been fantasizing about kidnapping and torturing women since his teenage years. He didn't want to kill, he wanted control. Phew. That shit got dark really fast. This is important. Unlike many serial killers who escalate toward murder, Ray was focused on prolonged captivity. He wanted control to dehumanize his victims. He wanted them to stay alive, and that distinction makes this case uniquely disturbing. So what did you think he was able to do? What do you think he possibly did that could have made them sustain all of this without saying a single word? Because for years he's had many victims and not a single one came out. I guess we'll figure that out as we read this more, won't we? In the 1980s and 1990s, Ray converted a trailer on his property into what investigators would later describe as a torture chamber. Inside, they had found chains and pulleys attached to the ceiling, leg spreader bars, surgical instruments, whips, clamps, and restraints. A dentist-style chair with stirrups, okay. Mirrors mounted above the chairs. He must have thought he was a really cool-ass dentist. Imagine if you were trying to go into that trailer and all you saw was a bunch of dentist work. You would think you're about to get the most pearliest white teeth imaginable. The walls were soundproof, there was a system to play audio recordings, and that recording became infamous. Before assaulting victims, Ray would play a tape that he had recorded in his own voice. In it, he calmly explained what he was going to do, and part of that tape reportedly included statements like, "I'm going to tell you in detail what's going to happen to you. You've been kidnapped, and you're going to be kept here and used." The tape lasted approximately 45 minutes. It was methodical, instructional. It removed hope.
Okay, we both know what you've been brought here for. A lot of. Your wrists and ankles are chained, and you're gagged because you're not going to like the way I do it. You're going to be kept here, naked and chained down. I'm going to use you. I'm into bondage and S&M. It's kind of hard to find willing partners that goes for that. So when I get the urge, I go out, find me some good-looking little turns me on, kidnap her, and keep her in my playroom for a while. And this time it's your turn. I'm not going to cut you up or do anything that'll cause serious injury. And don't worry about being killed. I don't plan to do that either. As long as you don't know me, you don't present a risk. And in a week or two, when I'm through with you, you can be turned loose. And if you pass out while I'm doing this, I'll revive you with ammonia inhalants. I want you to feel every second of it. I'm sure that it goes without saying that you will not be given any opportunity to escape. A long, heavy chain is going to be kept locked around your neck all the time that you're here. Even if you did manage to get your hands and feet loose, there's no way in hell you'd get a chain over your head. I've told you exactly what I plan to do, and it's going to be painful as hell. That's the way I want it to be. If I thought that you knew enough to cause serious problems, you would not be turned loose. You would simply disappear. Don't do anything to create a situation where it might become necessary. But so much for that. I think you get the point. As soon as I turn this tape off, you will have an excellent opportunity to try to beg for me to turn you loose. I may or may not be able to understand you through the gag, but if you want to, feel free to try. I love to listen to a beg and plead. And this is the end of the tape.
Ray did not work alone, though. He had many accomplices, such as his girlfriend, Cindy Hindi, his daughter, Glenda Jessie Ray, and a friend named James Fielder. His victims were often targeted at bars where they would be drugged, lured, or kidnapped. Ray would restrain them for days, sometimes longer. Investigators later believed he used drugs like sodium, pentothal, or other sedatives in attempts to erase memory. Victims who survived often reported fragmented recollections. Some were released far from where they were taken. Others were threatened with death if they went to police. Many never reported anything because they weren't sure what happened to them. On March 22, 1999, a woman named Cynthia Vigil was held captive in the trailer. Cindy Hindi was present. At one point, Hindi had left the trailer, which allowed Vigil to be able to free herself from her restraints. When Cindy had returned, Vigil attacked her with an ice pick and ran while she was naked, chained, and bleeding, and ran into a nearby home and told that homeowner that she had been raped, abused, and tortured. Police had responded, and David Parker Ray would soon be arrested shortly after. Then the investigations began. They searched the property and found the trailer, also known as the Toybox, along with a tape, and items belonging to women who were never identified. This is where the case shifts from horror to something even heavier, because when police examined the evidence, they began to suspect something much bigger. Ray had been charged with multiple accounts of kidnapping, criminal sexual penetration, and torture-related crimes, but investigators feared the victim count was much higher. Some estimates speculated he could have assaulted over 40 women. Others feared the number was closer to 60. There were rumors of videotapes showing assaults. There were claims of possible murders. But here's the unsettling truth. No bodies were ever conclusively tied to him, and no murder conviction was ever secured. Despite the scale of what was found, the official record lists no confirmed murders. In 2001, David Parker Ray accepted a plea deal. He was sentenced to 224 years in prison. Unfortunately, he died in 2002 of a heart attack just over a year into his sentence. But this means he never stood trial for his murder, and Cindy Hindi initially received a 36-year sentence, but then got paroled in 2019. Glenda Jesserie would serve some time for her involvement and was released as well, while James Fielder also had received some prison time for his involvement. Prosecutor Stephen Sanders described the case as one of the most horrific cases I have ever seen. Law enforcement referred to the trailer as a torture chamber, but what haunts this case isn't just what was proven, it's what wasn't. There have been long suspicions of additional victims. Unidentified jewelry and personal items were recovered. Investigators explored connections to missing women. Some online communities speculate about links to unsolved disappearances, but officially, those links were never proven in court, which creates a strange tension in this case. The evidence was overwhelming, but the full scope remains unknown. The horror isn't just the violence, it's what was prepared, it's what was planned, and the architecture of suffering. The fact that he recorded instructions, that he rehearsed it, that he treated it like a system, and that for years, no one had noticed. He wasn't hiding in the woods. He was no myth. He was just a regular state employee living in a small New Mexico town. And the Toybox that had sat quietly in the desert heat, waiting for its next victims. The Toybox killer case forces a question that's uncomfortable to sit with. How many people can exist in plain sight? Building rooms no one can see. How many victims survive but never report? How many crimes never become statistics? David Parker Ray died in prison. Many questions died with him. And in the desert outside truth or consequences, there's an empty space where that trailer once stood. No monsters, no ritual symbols, no mythology, just a man and a room he built for control. And that's what makes this horror hidden in plain sight. And he got away with this for many years. Many years, and not one single justice was brought, besides for one victim out of many more that could have came over the course of those years that he had gone away with it. And not a single neighbor, not one, noticed it. While I would be joking about situations like this is real. This isn't like a story, this isn't fake. This is what happened, and this is what reality is for some people, and that is what scares most. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of this series, go ahead and press the like button and subscribe, as more will be coming out very, very soon. Until next time, my hollows, stay cozy, stay safe, stay warm, and I'll see you all in the next one. Buh.